Hello friends, welcome if you are new, welcome back if you're not. Today's sewing adventure is about getting to know one of the machines. Today's machine is the Brother, and I will tell you the model number and everything if you already have him. And if not, most of the parts on a machine are about the same, but individually the machine will have a manual. And we can go through that in a later session. Today's introduction class is about meeting the machine. So let me go ahead and just turn you guys around and we will get to go ahead and see what we're doing on that side. So here is the Brother machine runway, and it is CE 5000 PRW, and it is a computerized machine. Don't let that intimidate you. It's just a regular machine that has extra little features from a regular one. Most machines will have, I'm going to be making some noise, so I'm going to be moving my cart. Most of the machines do have the okay, so this machine here has your spool holder. It has for the bobbin winder. I'll teach you how to do that. It's got your tension, it's got your width, your stitch length, it's got some of the stitches here that you put it to that and it will do it for you. It's got your bobbin holder in there. Number one, I use this little thing here. I'll put this in front so you can see it. It is to hold your thread spool for many sizes, and if my fingers are in the way, I'm sorry. But it holds your spool of any size. If you don't have it, you don't have to get one. You can get a cup and that will work great. So number one thing that we want to learn is how to thread this machine. Now this machine, I'm going to put you above the machine so you can see that. So we'll thread it and you can see how to thread it. I'm going to move some of the stuff that I have here, and let me go ahead and raise you a little. Here we are on the top of the machine. Now it's already threaded for me, but I'm going to go ahead and get a dark color so you will be able to see the thread while I thread. Now this is white. Always keep white and black in your sewing kit. It helps a lot. Let's go ahead, use some black one. Now I'm going to go ahead and thread this as if we didn't have the little tool here. Okay, we're going to put it right in here. And then most of the machines, if you get a newer one, you're going to see most of your machines will have instructions up here and on the sides. Just follow the numbers. So we're going to take our thread here. We're going to go, this is for your bobbin winder, so go ahead and ignore that for now. We're going to skip to this number one. We're going to go ahead and put it right in there. We're going to go down. So I'm going to put you back in the front so you can see that. But as you can see, we started here. We just rolled over the thread to this side. 1 second. Now we're in front of the machine, and as you can see, the thread is right here, and there is a little number 2 right there. If you can see that, we're going to roll it down. There's a 3 there. We're going to go up. Now on this side, I don't know if you guys can see that, we're going to go back and around that little piece, which is like, I'll show you close up in a minute. It's just a little piece that's inside of there. There we are, and let the camera just focus in on that. It's a little piece that we're gonna thread that, and I don't think I can move it where you guys can see it, but okay, you see that? Okay, let me put you back down. We're gonna go down, and this might get a little tricky, so let me go ahead and get some more lighting over here. We're gonna go down to the 5, okay, and we're gonna go right over here. Let me see if I can. Down the 5, and there's gonna be a little place to put your thread right there, and after that, now this one has an automatic threader. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to go ahead, bring my foot down. I'm going to bring my needle up, and that is where we're going to go ahead and thread it right into the needle. Okay, there we go. Now I cannot see that far, but you will be able to see. If not, you can get a needle threader, and then you just put it through the needle, and you want long enough thread but not too long. Lift your foot, and you're going to put it towards the back. And that is how you thread your needle or your machine to start sewing. Always have a piece of fabric that will sit under here to keep any dust, if you don't have a dust cover over your machine, to keep the dust from coming into the bobbin. So we have threaded the machine. Now what do we do with this? Well, we are going to go ahead and test the stitches to see if they're working correctly, if we have our tension correctly. So we're going to be doing that. Okay, so I have a piece of scrap, which is just a cotton, and we're going to put it right under there, and we are going to try. Now I have it at, I'm going to change this because I don't want that one. I want a number 1, which is a straight stitch. Oh, a 1. And as you can see, the 1 is going to be on my left side, and that's where I got up here. And I have a 2.5. I'm going to make it a 3 and then keep that there. But let's test this out. Let me get you closer. You can see that. Okay, so let's test it. Now always make sure your needle is positioned down, and we're going to try. Okay, there we are, and we do have nice stitching. Well, let's put it over here. That's a nice stitch. And then on the back you can see that it has equal amounts of stitching between each one of them. Okay, now you can always keep that there to keep it from getting dusty, like I said. Now to wind a bobbin, it's not very hard, and I'll show you why. On this side of the machine, let's go ahead and cut our thread. If you don't have little snippers, most of your machines will have this little thing here, which is your cutter. Just put your thread through that, snap it, and always keep a good size amount of thread so you don't lose your thread. Now, let's get into the bobbin. Now, I don't think my bobbin needs to be filled, so we're gonna go ahead and leave him alone. I do have more, but I'm usually get very prepared when it comes to my bobbins, but I'll show you what I mean. Okay, let me get you up higher. Okay, now to thread your bobbin, you're going to put your bobbin right over here. Okay, you are going to either use another thread or the same one that you have here. Always use the same type of thread that you're sewing with to your bobbin. Same thread, that way there is no confusion. Okay, so we're going to take our thread. We're going to come over here, okay, and we are going to put it exactly how it tells us right here. We're going to go straight and then back, straight and back. Let me do that again because I think my hand was in the way. Straight. Oh, you're not seeing that. Okay. Okay, straight and back. And then we're gonna pull it. Let me get my other hand. You're gonna pull it this way. Okay, now when you thread it, it's going to tell you how to go ahead and thread it into your bobbin. This one tells us that we must use forward, down, and across and around. Okay, when you have at least one roundabout, you're going to put it through. If your bobbin has a hole up at the middle, somewhere up here, or through one of those, you're going to put your thread through there, pull it up, and then your machine should have, this one's automatic. The other one that I will show you later has the snap where you will pull the button, but I'm not going to confuse you. I'm going backwards. Thread your thing and snap it. Did you hear that? Snap it. Make sure your thread is taut, so you don't want it to be all loosey there. And then you will, I'll press it to show you, but it's not, you know, there. You do is this. And you see how that moves? It will wind it for you, and this will give, this little guy moves. This will give your bobbin the length, the amount of thread that you want. And if I want a little, then I will put it towards the biggest part. And I don't want it filled, then I will put it right there. So the thread will go right up against there. And that's what you want to do. How much thread do you want? The more that you stick this into your bobbin, the less thread you'll have. Now, you do want it to be there because it's going to be obvious that you want thread on your bobbin. So just put it towards that space. You don't want to overfill your bobbin either because it will make a mess. So that is how you wind a bobbin. That is how you thread your machine. Let me put you down. If you have any questions on this machine or any other machine, let me know and I can answer down in the comments below. Now remember, this button here is for your tension. I, at the beginning, did learn that moving closer to the bigger numbers is looser, and then moving towards the smaller numbers is tightening. So I always keep it at about a 3. Let me see if you can see that. Let me bring you down a little. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so as you can see, the number 3 is right there. I don't want it too tight or too loose, so I'm going to go ahead and have it right about the 3, and I did mark it. When you get your first machine, you can always mark it. It's yours. Make it comfortable. You know, we'll learn more about the stitches and everything, how to position and things that you can use to be able to remember where things are at. We'll also go through the types of feet. This one has a very nice little advantage to other machines where you just can snap. Let me bring you down. You're not wanting. Okay. This one has a nice feature. This one, let me show you once again. Just snaps right in and then sleep. Okay. Now you're gonna lift your foot if you want to change your foot. I love that. Now you can just go ahead and snap it in the back and put it right back in there. Now this one also has a very nice little feature. If you can, hopefully, if not, I'll bring you in. This one has a nice little feature as well, and we will learn more about this little black little button looking thing in the back in a future lesson. First thing is you're going to learn is how to straight stitch, and I kind of demonstrated that when I went ahead and showed you this. Very easy. You're going to follow a line, and I will show you tricks and tips on how to make it easy for yourself for that straight line. One of the other things that you want to keep in mind, let me take you back a little so you guys can kind of look at the machine. Okay, the safety precautions is another thing that you want to learn. Number one thing, I know that a lot of people do this, is put the pins in their mouth, and that is a big no-no. A marker all over the place. Oh my goodness. Okay, don't put your pins in your mouth. Use a pin cushion. And one of the things that you can do is go to your local Dollar Tree or Walmart, places that you don't have to spend a lot, and get yourself a pin cushion. I got this one at the Dollar Tree. Very simple. Future classes, I will teach you how to make your own and what's the best thing to use to stuff this with. But this is a simple little pin cushion I found at the Dollar Tree. Now there's also magnetic pin cushions or pin keepers. They just snap there when you're kind of in a hurry and you just want to throw them back there. The thing is with these, I'll tell you this, you get stabbed when you try to go get, if you're in a rush to pin your stuff. I recommend using a pin cushion that has some kind of a stuffing inside of it. So don't put your pins in your mouth. Put them in a pin cushion. Number two, always make sure that you are not in a rush when you're sewing. This needle is very sharp. It goes through thread. Do not put your hands next to it. Keep your hands away on this side and then on this side. Oh, you can't see. I'm gonna bring you up. But that's one of our concerns, is that we have to make sure we're safe. Now, the hands go there, there. Never stick them here. Use something if you want to push your material through. If you are tired and frustrated and your project is not coming out the way you wanted it, walk away. Walk away from the machine. Go take a snack. Go get you something to eat. Give yourself at least an hour. When you are rested and fed, come back. Another of the things that we encounter with the sewing machine is that the bobbin is not threaded right, or it's not in the right tension, and we get these blobs underneath our fabric. There's nothing here, but I wish I had one. It just looks like a bird's nest, and that's something you want to avoid. Being careful with your machine. Always this little turning spot here, always pull it towards you. So this wheel here, I always turn it towards me. Okay, that's how I do it with this machine. Other machines could be different. Now, another thing of safety Okay, let's continue with our safety before we leave. Always keep your eye on the needle. Avoid sewing over pins. Practice proper needle use. There's many things that we overlook, and one of them is our sewing needle in the machine that is dull. If it's not sewing correctly, if you've used it a lot, if you're making a lot of projects, you need to change that. Now, when you sew, you are going to need to iron. I'm hoping to go over the ironing and all the stuff that you might need for ironing in a future lesson. Always turning off your machine when you're done, or when you're going to replace that needle in your machine. You don't want to go ahead and have it on and then accidentally press the pedal, which has happened. Get to know your machine. That's one of the things that we all kind of forget. We get a machine and we want to sew right away. Play with it. Get a scrap piece of fabric and use the different stitches that your machine has. Do different types of stitches on a fabric and see how it works. Make notes. Have a notebook and make notes of the stitches that you like, the settings for the sewing machine. And we'll talk about more on that. Always avoid distractions. If you have children, make sure that they are taken care of and that you're not sewing with them on your lap. Make sure that they are, if they're going to be in the same room, make sure that they are playing and that you turn off the machine if you need to stop and go look at them and take care of them. Always be cautious of the cords around you. As you can see I have tons of cords everywhere. Now, I try really hard every time I come to sew to keep those sewing wires and lamp wires and all the other stuff that I have connected to the side away from me, so I don't trip. Let me show you my floor. Okay, there's the pedal, and I moved it only because I was trying to teach you guys how to do the sewing. Usually it would go right in there, underneath, away from me accidentally stepping on it as I walk away. Okay, and as we discussed, keep your fingers away from the needles. Make sure you always put your pins in the cushions. If you have very long hair, make sure that you pull your hair back. You don't want to have it, in the way of your sewing, or like if you have sleeves that are long or wavy or whatever, pull them back, put a t-shirt on, put something kind of a little bit more snug onto your arms. You don't want to sew your clothing onto your project. Also, sit comfortably. I have this, I'll show you. I'm going to turn you around and you're going to be able to see the back. Okay, I have this little chair here. It has a nice cushion. It has wheels that I can move back and forth. And that is what I use when I sew in this on this machine here. And it's got a comfortable, cushiony backing and everything. Make sure you're wearing comfortable shoes. You don't want to be tired and get frustrated because you're tired. Make sure you read your manual when you get your book, when you get your machine. Always very important. Highlight, study that book, highlight the important things that pop out to you. Make sure that you have your threads. Remember, your thread that you use to sew on top and your bobbin thread should be the same type. If you're using cotton on top, use cotton at the bottom. If you're using polyester, use polyester at the top and on the bottom. Choose your sewing machine carefully. You don't want to get a machine with a whole bunch of functions and get overwhelmed and not want to sew because you're intimidated by your machine. Get a machine that you're going to be comfortable with the least amount of functions. You want your straight stitch, zigzag stitch, a couple of stitches, and I will probably teach you more about those in a later video. Distractions, very important. If you have a cell phone, keep it to a minimum on your volume. You don't want to get all these messages and everything and you're sewing and you think it's something important and you turn away and you accidentally sew your fingers. Go slow. One very important tip I'm going to give you is go slow as you take your machine and you start sewing. You're not gonna start sewing fast. You want to make sure that you got everything. Measure twice, cut once. Your machine is your friend. You're going to need to keep it in good condition. Make sure that you dust off many of the parts. But we will get into how to keep your bobbin area clean because it does get dusty. Do not use that air can. Not what you want to do. And once again, I remind you guys, be patient with yourself. You learn, we learn by practicing. One of the things I'm going to ask you to do if you already have a sewing machine, to make sure that you have the equipment you need before you start sewing. Okay, now I talked about the functions on your machine. Our next lesson will bring up more topics about sewing, so be patient. If you're in a rush to go ahead and start sewing, make sure that you have the equipment that you will need, which is your basic sewing, your pins, your scissors, rotary cutter, a marking tool. If you live near a Dysel, you can get some of these. They erase with water. So, yep, oh my God. They erase with water. Another thing I haven't really tried is called a friction pin. I have these to write my notes, but they also are supposed to be erasable, or they go away with water or heat or something. So, let me show you. Pins on a magnet. Let me show you around. So, hopefully this is not too long. Over here, I have my thread, sewing area in little cubby type of things in trays, because I don't want them rolling over or accidentally getting in my way. So I put my scissors in there, my pin cushion is over there. My threads I usually put away in an area, or I have my cart, which is a mess right now, but I've been cleaning. And as you can see, I have my rotary cutter. The little pinky one, the pink ones are little snips, measuring tape, some other tools that I need, regular scissors, some other stuff that I might need, clips, and more thread, as you can see there. So let's go ahead and get excited. If you want to go ahead and get anything, go ahead and get you some cotton fabric, get to know it. Open up your box of sewing machine if you haven't. If you have, go ahead and thread it. Do some straight stitching on your machine. Practice that. Have some of the tools that we have talked about that you do need is basic, and we'll go ahead and get into that in another lesson. But if you like this video, please subscribe, like, comment down below if you have any questions at all, and anything you would like to go ahead and see on these videos. But until next time, bye for now.